Good morning and good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our webinar on introducing Canvas. My name is Matt Niemer. I am the Chief of Staff of the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, but I'm on one of the leads for the communication piece of the Canvas project and was part of the team to put together this webinar today. And I appreciate and welcome all of you that took the time out of your day to spend an hour with us and have a conversation about Canvas with us. And we create a little studio here at the Chicago campus of the Chicago School of Professional Psychology to present this today. And in our room with us, I'll introduce them, and then I'm going to throw it over to Dr. Sean Neufer, who is one of the project leads for this initiative. He'll be doing the presentation. But joining us as well is Gia Graves, is Dr. Michael Barr, and is Hal Pollard, and they're all part of the team that selection for Canvas. Are all part of the. Okay, sorry about the technical glitch. And we'll be part of the migration team as well. So we got a lot of people with us today who can share information and answer your questions. We're also recording this, and so for people that are not able to attend, you'll be able to listen to the recording. We're going to put the recording on that website that we created for the Canvas project, and that website's going to continue to be updated as new information is available, and we invite people to share the link to the website to others that have an interest in learning more about this project. Before I throw it over to Sean, just a couple of housekeeping items. If you haven't used the GoToWebinar platform before, it's like GoToMeeting, so if you've used GoToMeeting, you'll see a lot of the functionalities here, but it has a few additional bells and whistles that I wanted to point your attention to. And when we get to the Q&A piece of the presentation, there's a couple of ways of participating in that. You can either raise your hand, and we'll be able to see your hand raised, and then we can unmute you, and you can answer your question live over your phone. Another way of posing a question is using the chat feature, which people tend to use more often than the raise your hand, but we have both options for you. Just a quick technical note is make sure that you're either on the phone or you're on your speaker, but not both. So if you're on both and we go to you live, you'll get the super echo that we just did here to demonstrate to you what the echo sounds like. And we don't want to have that again. So either select on the phone or on the mic, but not both, and we'll be smooth sailing from there. Those are the main technical pieces. Just one more quick note on communication. So what we're doing here throughout the end of July and into August is a lot of outreach to faculty and to staff and to others throughout TCS Ed system and the colleges. And we're really going to kick off a robust communication plan starting in the fall, starting in September for students. So that's in development now. But what we wanted to do is bring everybody else in the loop first so you have full awareness and understanding of what Canvas is all about, and then we'll roll it out from there. So with that, I am going to turn it over to our lead presenter today, Dr. Sean Neufer.
Hi, everyone. So just for way of introduction, my name is Sean Neufer, and I am the e-learning specialist for TCS Education System, which means I work with the instructional design team, researching instructional technology, best practices in e-learning and online blended platforms, supplementing them in any way possible. And then I also have taken the lead on this LMS evaluation and now implementation process. And so to kick us off, so I wanted to kind of introduce the LMS Evaluation Committee. And first thing you'll notice, it was a very organic and flat committee made of many different departments. You can see the various functions here. We have administration portions, we have instructional designers, we have executives, faculty, including adjunct faculty, and these committee members span all of the institutions within TCS Education System, so Colleges of Law, Pacific Oaks, all of the Chicago campuses. So we wanted to get a fairly robust assessment and very involved and holistic viewpoints of where we're going with the LMS evaluation process. Moving forward, we've now disbanded the evaluation team, and we're moving forward with the steering committee and implementation teams. And so here we have the list of the steering team, the executives within our institution, as well as the people who are making up the advisory and the implementation team. And so we want to maintain a very holistic approach to moving forward as we implement, as we work with migration from eCollege to Canvas, and especially as we train our faculty, administration, the cabinet, and any staff who needs it, instructional design included. And so this is your team moving forward. Before we even started with the evaluation process, I worked with Becky in the Office of Institutional Research to survey the students, get their attitudes towards e-learning, online learning versus traditional learning, including their attitudes towards the current LMS, which is eCollege. So you can see from this graph, we e-blasted every student within the system. So we got around 5,000 invitations sent out and a response rate of just over 1,100. With this particular question, it's just under 1,000 people. But it's very well representative of every institution within the system, and so a good viewpoint of where the students are coming from. And you can see that their overall experience with eCollege is more or less very good or good. There's about 15% saying that they have a poor, very poor experience with eCollege, and almost 1 in 5 are undecided. But it's good to see that negative skew there with the distribution, because that tells us that we're not in dire straits. It's not an emergency that we need to get out of eCollege, or else we're tempting the students to riot or anything. But when we asked how would you compare eCollege with other similar LMS products, whether that be Blackboard or Moodle or whatever they have experience with, then you see more of a normal distribution there, with more people saying, oh, eCollege we think is worse or much worse. But still some people think it's better or much better. So that's kind of a little bit of background where the students are coming from, and ultimately the LMS serves the students and the faculty. So this is an important piece of data which guided our evaluation process. So now we're looking at what does the landscape look like. Right now the LMS market is saturated with products and vendors trying to sell their products. And so we wanted to do justice and really have our research reflect the market. We want to give everybody a fighting chance. And so you see Instructure, Sakai, Moodle, Blackboard, Desire to Learn, eCollege. We looked at all of these products and a little bit more. So we had about 7 or 8 products that were on the table. And ultimately, after a few months of research and debate, and we finally narrowed it down to really a few viable ones. And this is after many months. We decided Instructure, Canvas, and then Desire to Learn, and of course giving eCollege a chance to demonstrate their vision for the future, where they're going, where they would be able to take us if we were to renew our contract with them. And so all LMS products share similar features. Really, there's not a whole lot distinguishing one product from the other in terms of basic functionality and features. So you're looking at communication, collaboration, assessment. Many of these things are standards across the LMS. And so as a committee, what we really wanted to do is we came up with kind of a sub-list of considerations that if there's any way that we could weed out, since we're looking at so many products, we wanted to weed out products that really didn't meet our strict criteria. And so we're looking at what are the needs and expectations of each institution within the education system. And if any product didn't meet all those needs, then we didn't want to consider them. So cost of ownership, including the cost of migration, was a very important consideration for us. We don't want to pay more money or even as much money if we're getting a very similar product for eCollege, as well as maintenance and support, including that would be infrastructure, help desk support, downtime. What is the procedure for downtime? We wanted to minimize that. We wanted to outsource as much as we could in terms of housing the LMS and maintaining the LMS. Also looking at industry standards, because if the industry standards aren't up to par, then it wouldn't be worth it to migrate. Because as you, many of the veterans know from migrating, from our previous migration, it's not a fun process, and it's not something that we wish to go through many times or ever again if possible. So that was definitely a consideration. We want to have the highest standards as far as integration with our SIS, with our CRM. We want communication between systems. We're also talking about things like SCORM and APIs and LTIs, and which don't mean, that doesn't mean much to most of us, but it does mean a lot to the people, many of the people involved in the committee. And so it was a consideration. We want to weed out the people that don't meet our standards. And then we look at feature sets. What are the features that promote learning? So once we narrowed that list down, we were able to develop a pretty robust set of rubrics and metrics, which we used to assess each product in a way that it was fair and balanced, and that it represented our needs as an institution, in kind of, since many of us here are psychologists, in kind of a quantitative way, that we could show the results of our research and our evaluation. So these are kind of screenshots of a few of the metrics which we use, including that top one. We had it set up for inter-rater reliability, so that even we removed individual biases from the evaluation process. Was that getting too techy? My apologies. So the winner of the bout was Instructure Canvas. That was a unanimous decision by the committee, and these are a few of the features that really impressed us, that showed that Canvas went above and beyond all of the other products on the market right now, and including eCollege. It was enough of an incentive for us to migrate from eCollege. I'm not going to discuss every one of these, but I do want to pinpoint just a few of them that I think made a difference, and that we as a committee felt made a difference. And one is that first one, built from Web 2.0, which is kind of jargony for meaning, while many other products have been around for a long time and they make revisions and updates to their existing systems and infrastructure, this is a product that was built from scratch recently based on the latest web standards. And so they've integrated a clean user interface, that second point there, which is based off of many of the social networking platforms right now, the LinkedIn, the Twitter, the Google+, Facebook, of course, which makes it very intuitive and very easy to learn, which is a very important thing as we get into the training sessions and we look about implementing this. We want this to be as easy as possible, and so that's something we're definitely looking for in an LMS. Other things, I'll move down the list a bit, the communication notifications. So right now, with our current LMS, you have one option for communicating. Well, I guess two. You have the in-house email system, which will email their student accounts, or you could just use your Outlook and email them directly. With this LMS, it's a much more robust system where they can subscribe to announcements through RSS feeds, which sadly won't include Google Reader anymore, but there are many different outlets. They can receive messages on Facebook or LinkedIn. They can get text. If you email them or have an announcement, they can choose to receive that through any email account that they define. They have to set it up themselves. And so you have a better chance of really reaching the students and not depending that they're going to be checking their student email accounts in order to receive your correspondence. Right below that is the integrated multimedia, which I personally am a fan of. That means in a discussion board and an email and any aspect of the LMS, you have options to either have text message or text or copy correspondence, but you can also record videos with using your webcam, or you can use your microphone, or you can upload a video or a microphone, and that'll embed right into the correspondence. And so if the students have a discussion thread, they can respond by typing out their thoughts, but they can also record a video of themselves and share their thoughts that way. As you're in the gradebook and grading assignments, you can record some audio feedback and talk them through your thoughts, or you can record a video of yourself or even a screen capture of what you're talking about. And so that's a pretty exciting thing. And the speed grader, we won't even go into that much now, but just something for you to look forward to when we're in the training phase. You're really going to like the speed grader. Canvas has also been on top. They've been in the forefront player in the mobile app world, and so they have native iOS apps, they have native Android apps, they have a very good mobile web-based platform for Windows, like Windows 8 devices, and everything is scalable within the LMS. And the calendar feature right below that as well. I could rattle on about every one of these, so I'll stop with the calendar feature though. We have calendars in the LMS with Canvas, and so students can see which assignments are due. They can see in a calendar setting. We don't have to make a Google Calendar and try and embed it into eCollege anymore. And they can have the calendar view for every class so that they can see all of their due dates and assignments for every class, or they can specify which classes they want to focus on. And instructors, if they have to make a change to an assignment, they can pull up their instructor calendar and move an assignment with drag and drop, and everywhere within the course it'll change the due dates, change whatever it needs to make that updated and in real time. I'd love to go on about more of those features, but you'll learn about those in the fall. We're going to go through trainings, and if you have questions, go ahead and reach out to us. And so this is not wanting to come up. I tested it a moment ago. If you could all head out to, we'll go ahead and visit that website. Maybe if I put this pointer to arrow.
Go to a browser. You should be able to
Yeah, we'll pull up a browser instead. All right, tcsedgesystem.edu/LMS Migration. We're able to put those in the chat, the URLs. We're going to send the URLs out to you guys. Let me just put that on the monitor. All right. We have a website here, Lms Migration website, that discusses the changes that are going to be happening in the system. And this is the TCS Education website, but this is also going to be found on each institutional website. The Chicago School.edu, the Pacific Oaks, Colleges of Law. What you change is in the URL, change this to the Chicago School.edu, and it's not shared services. It would be LMS Migration. So if I were to type in the Chicago School.edu/LMS Migration, then you should be able to come up to the Chicago School instance. And so it's branded for each institution, but the information is essentially the same across all of the sites. So we have an intro page here with a short video that kind of talks about many of the fun things that you can do with Canvas. On the left hand here we have some navigation, and this will be expanded as we further develop the project. But I'll briefly walk you through this page. Why change? Why are we bother? Why don't we renew our contract with eCollege? We talk about the summary of what we did to evaluate and some of the things we're looking forward to in Canvas. And these are hyperlinks, so if you want to learn more about, for example, the native multimedia commenting that I was just talking about, how you can have audio, video, or text, then you can click on those tabs and that'll take you to the instructor site where they have guides put together and they can walk you through those aspects. I didn't hyperlink pricing because I'm not going over that. So FAQ, but just know the price is good. Very much an incentive. This is also going to be a very organic page. As you guys ask questions, we tried to build this out anticipating the questions which we expected would arise. If you have more questions as they become frequent, then we will add them to our frequently asked questions. And if you have just a moment that you want to, you're at the pool and you just want to stick your toe in and feel the water a little bit, then you can spend a couple minutes on this page. And there's a 6-minute video that's a high-level overview of Canvas, and there's also some links to quick start guides, some communities, and then down at the bottom here, a few quick resources. If you want to have, if you're ready to just dive in, you're on the diving board and you just want to make the plunge, you can click down here on this Canvas resources page where you can find release notes, and then you can find videos and PDF guides to just about anything that you would care to know about. And these all hyperlink to the instructor site. So they have PDF guides, and they have a very large Vimeo library, similar to YouTube, where they can either, so you can either read about it or you can watch them do an overview, a screencast overview. And this page is going to be built out more as we discover new resources. I already have some more resources I'm going to put at the bottom here later today or tomorrow. This page is not rendering, and this will look prettier on your browsers, but this is a table that is kind of a comparison equivalency table. Many of the features that you know in eCollege already, like how to work with the syllabus, the threaded discussions, or the grade book, we've included the similar equivalent functions within Canvas and then hyperlinked these as well. So if you want to learn about how the Canvas grade book is different than the eCollege grade book, then you can just click on that and it'll take you to the guide within Instructure. And so you can look at that. And just for further reference, in case you're curious, we have the Lms Evaluation Team, and we talk a little bit about our responsibilities, what we were looking for specifically, and many of these people are subject matter experts in their areas, whether it's student information systems or instructional design, and so this is a resource for you. A page that is pending that you can look out for in the future is we're going to have a page called Canvas Trainings. And if you just type in that into the URL, you can access this page. It's not like a secret or anything. It's just we don't have a navigation link to the left yet because we're still finalizing this training schedule. But you'll be able to see a summary of, if you're a faculty member, you can see all of the trainings which we are going to be providing in the fall months, how long those trainings will be, and then we have descriptions of the trainings. So here for faculty we have C3, for example. You can see that's an instructor training. The people who will be involved, a brief overview of what that training will entail, and then tentative dates. Right now we have just the weeks booked off on when that training will be available. And in the future, as we further meet as an implementation team, we're going to streamline that to days and times. And you will get invites. Don't worry, you will get invites to these trainings. They are not going to be a secret or anything, and in many cases they will be mandatory even. Right below that is a tentative, and again this will be refined as we go along, week by week, which trainings will be available and when. So we have September here. In October we have a couple of weeks as well, a week in November, and so and also the instructional design team, they're going to be receiving additional trainings, which is train the trainer, so that we can set up our own instances within Canvas and run our own courses. So in the springtime, the training doesn't go away. Everybody who teaches in Canvas will have opportunities to be trained, and in many cases, it'll be mandatory that they can't teach in Canvas until they're trained. And so much of that going forward after fall semester will be done in-house. But at the moment, these trainings are all they're all hosted by Instructure, the company that owns Canvas, and so we're outsourcing those so that we can have a faster learning curve, and so we can go from there. And so yeah, that's what we have. We have questions on the board here.
Great. Okay, we'll call up some questions, and again, just the housekeeping. It's Matt again. So if you want to raise your hand, we'll be able to see your hand raised. But if you do that, just to make sure that either your phone is using the phone or the microphone, and not both. So we'll have a look at that.
Question is, turn it integrated into Canvas is one question that came up. The answer is yes, and almost any third-party program will be integrated into Canvas. They're one of the champions of the API movement, which if, let me share a link real quick if you want to. So just a couple weeks ago, I actually wrote a blog post. If you want to go to tcs-ide.blogspot.com, I know it's a mouthful. I can put that in the chat window at all. I give a brief description here of what APIs are and why it's important, the evolution of the API, which essentially stems from companies like eBay and Amazon.com, later Facebook, Twitter, and it's a way that programs can communicate with each other. For example, if you have a smartphone and you take a picture and you put an Instagram filter on it and you want to share that with your Twitter folks or with your Facebook community, you can do that with the click of one button or pressing one button on your phone, and then that integrates. That's done through APIs. Instagram has its API, which makes its information available to other programs, and then Facebook would have an API. Those two APIs communicate, and they kind of broker this deal where the communication is passed. And so Canvas is one of the leaders of the API movement, and also something called LTI, which is, I could be making this up, Learning Technology Integration. But it's kind of the next generation of API. And so everything from Turnitin to what are the other things, task stream, smart thinking, a lot of the instructional design tools will be integrated. If you've heard of SCORM, if you know what SCORM is, LTI is like the next generation of SCORM as well. And so we're going to be able to develop third-party programs, assessments perhaps, and have that integrated into the gradebook within Canvas. So pretty much everything integrates. And during the trainings, we'll talk about the App Store. The App Store is essentially, it's as easy to integrate as if you're on your iPhone or your iPad or Android device, since I don't want to discriminate or anything. But if you're on one of your devices and you have whatever the App Store is and you download the app, that's essentially how easy it is to integrate Turnitin into your course.
Okay, so I think we have a hand raised here. Let's see. Okay, we're going to try this. So we're going to go out to Jim and unmute you, Jim. Your hand is raised, and you have a question. Over to you, Jim Ernest.
Thank you. I hope the dogs don't bark right now.
They will.
When are we actually implementing?
Great question.
We are implementing a new learning management system. So right now the courses are housed within eCollege. That's where students log in to be able to view their syllabus, to have discussions, to submit assignments with the Dropbox. That's where they receive the grades. We're changing that learning management system into another learning management system called Canvas.
Did that answer your question, Jim?
I'm sorry. When will we go live with this? This semester, spring, or when?
Sorry.
Sorry, I got the what. Thank you.
Okay. When will be spring 1? Essentially December or January 1st of 2014 is when system-wide we are going to have our implementation of Canvas. And we're going to have a few pilot programs. We're working that out for fall 2, just so that we can have some guinea pigs, some early adopters who are excited about testing this out, who can kind of be the forefront champions. But system-wide, you won't see this until spring 1 term, or the spring term, whether if you're on ground.
More people raising their hand. We have here in Chicago, Dave Ron. Dave, over to you.
Hey, I'm in 713 with a bunch of folks, and Linda Liang has a question for us.
This looks great. One of the issues, I'm putting my former department chair hat on, was the data that was generated from eCollege and the accuracy of the data and how that would inform our program review process and our OIR data and the WIPA report and things like, and how it would dovetail with our enrollment data and financial data. How does Canvas do those things? Is it fairly easy to integrate the data from Canvas with some of our existing systems so that we can actually get accurate program data?
Hi, this is Michael Barr.
Hello, Michael Barr.
We're actually right now reviewing what reports we want to have, and we have very robust reporting.
Wonderful. Glad to hear.
I think we mentioned that one of the reasons that we selected this learning management system was because of the ability to integrate properly with our student information system, which we lovingly call Campus View, and our PRS program used by student services. some of that project begins after the migration to Canvas, and it's going to take a little time to get up to speed where everything is integrated, because we have to. The next phase of this is to bring Campus View into alignment. So some of it will be automatically operational. The first step is, as an organization, is we're working with what we used to call LOM in eCollege to get its equivalent up and running so we don't miss a beat on data collection for student assessment of learning, and that we can build that out nationally for our WASP self-reports. So it'll be a phased-in thing, but the ability of the systems to talk to each other is very strong, and probably one of the strongest features of the system, which I find to be very exciting.
Great. Let's take, we got a lot of questions. Terrific. So let's go over to the chat questions. That one from Deb Goodell.
So she's asking, will eCollege and Canvas ever be run or used simultaneously, or will the switch to Canvas be a one-time permanent switch? Essentially, our contract with eCollege is up on December 31st of this calendar year, and so by January 1st there will be a hard switch. Everybody who's not using Canvas will use Canvas by January 1st. But we will be piloting a few programs, a few classes in fall 2. And so we will have a little bit of overlap, not much, but enough that we can work out the bugs or anticipating the issues that we have come January.
Some comments. Let's go to Brooke Ruff. Got a chat question from Brooke.
Who should we report issues to with the Lms Migration website? You can send that to me. I'll put my name up on the website presently, and I'll be maintaining that site, and so don't have issues with the site.
I'll actually take this one from Chelsea. She asks, when will students be notified of the change? Touched on that at the top of the webinar. We're putting together a full, robust communication plan. It actually is modeled after the communication plan that we put together for the Student Gateway project, and will be, and I know, Chelsea, I think you might have been part of that team as well, Brooke as well, so we'll have some of the people part of that. We'll come back together with a lot of student affairs folks across all of the colleges, and we'll have a robust communication plan that I carry throughout all of the fall semester that will include trainings and other events focused specifically to students. So great question. Thanks for that one. How about we go back to the phones? Francis McLean, your hand is raised. We're going to go to you next. Francis, are you with us?
What's that? Wait.
Okay. Yeah, I think you lowered your hand. We'll see. Okay. Let's go to Carolyn Mathis from Pacific Oaks. Carolyn, you there, Carolyn? Okay. Carolyn, I don't know if you want to raise your hand. I'll clear you out. If you want to raise your hand again, go ahead and raise it again, and we'll get you back in the queue. How about Ted Schultz? Ted, your hand is raised. Are you there, Ted?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. You went in and out. I had a quick question regarding the on-ground faculty. Will the Canvas, how is it going to be set up? Is it going to be similar to how eCollege was set up, where you have courses built out already with the help of instructional designers, and then faculty who start a class every term who are teaching on ground would have the opportunity to build out their class as their own instructional designer? Is it a similar method?
Yes, Ted. Yes, it will be similar in that way. We are in the process of trying to implement a few things where, for example, all on-ground classes will include a syllabus and use of the grade book and some other really key features that we think faculty will really benefit from, as well as students. But in terms of on-ground faculty being able to pull their content forward term after term, that will be possible, and then my team will do the same thing that they've always done in terms of helping the online and blended courses with their actual course development and making sure that, you know, master courses are set up and their sections are populated each term, so on and so forth. So it will work in a very similar manner.
Thanks. And just one small other quick question just about the enrollment process. I know there's, Michael had talked about linking Campus View with Canvas. Will faculty have the opportunity to add and take out students from their class, or will that be an automatic process through Campus View as well?
That will be automated through Campus View.
That will be automated? Okay.
And just one other point of clarification for course builds. Any course that will that spans more than one campus will be developed by the centralized instructional design team to ensure that there's a uniform build. And they'll be working with all the ground faculty also to help establish a best practice process for ensuring that the courses are built in a similar standardized way, not necessarily content, but in terms of structure, so that they're all compatible.
And one priority of the instructional design team right now is the Quality Matters rubrics, which we're going to be implementing as a standard within the courses. We're going to be developing templates, and Canvas actually works well with Quality Matters, and they have templates that we'll be able to build off to ensure that we comply with the rubric.
Thank you, Ted. Actually, we have another question from Wayne Van Ellis on Campus View. Are you going to touch that one, Sean?
All right, so he has this may be well answered in the process, but I'm concerned with the interface between Campus View and Canvas. Will this interface be seamless, i.e. entering grades, entering attendance, enrollment changes, etc.? Will these processes sync with Canvas in real time? I can tell you our hopeful answer will be yes, it will be seamless. I've heard mixed things from the instructor folk regarding Campus View, but they do work with Campus View. They have many institutions that work with Campus View, and it's maybe not going to be as seamless as we will hope, but from what I understand, it'll be an improvement with our current system.
Yes, it will improve. The issue really revolves around Campus View and not Canvas. Canvas will allow for a significantly higher level of integration. So the receipt and the push of information in and out of Canvas will be streamlined. So as long as we can work with Campus View, things will improve on that end. Certainly, standardizing, getting everybody to use the gradebook in Canvas will greatly simplify the process and improve the data going into Campus View. So that's going to be an essential function of switching over to Canvas, is making sure that everybody is actually using the gradebook in Canvas.
All right, so we have a question from Paula Chenoweth. Do you know which courses will migrate first? We're doing one batch as part of, we're contracting with Instructure to actually migrate 1,300 courses. And so we're planning to have that done. So they will all be on the system. As far as the pilot programs, we're still working that out. They will be online programs because we will pilot in Fall 2, so we won't have any 14-week courses involved with that. Every course will be migrated over by, remind me of the date, October 14th. Is that when? That's when all of our current courses should be rolled over into the new LMS.
A question from Lord.
Lord Giddy, what does faculty have to do in the meantime as far as course migration from eCollege and Canvas besides training? Just wait patiently. We're going to take care of it. The migration, it should be relatively clean. As far as the majority of the content should roll over into Canvas. This is a process that they have experience with, including UC Denver right now with 1,800 courses they're just wrapping up. There will be a little bit of maintenance that may be expected from the instructional designers or the faculty. You'll just want to go over the course, make sure everything's in place, but it should be a pretty painless process, I should say.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
And just in addition to that, for on-ground faculty, that means faculty who have developed their own courses, they have not had any help or assistance from the instructional design team, we sent out an email to all of you to ask that you identify those courses, because those courses are kind of invisible to me and my team. So we need your help in identifying those courses so that we can make sure that they are transitioned over into the new system. So if you've developed your own course in eCollege without the help of instructional design, you should have gotten an email from Ted Scholes or Frank at PO or someone saying, let us know what these courses are. If you're an online or blended instructor and you're used to just kind of going into eCollege, opening up your course, and all of your content is there, and you're just ready to teach, all of that content will be migrated over automatically. So in that case, all you have to do is just kind of sit back and wait for the content to show up in your Canvas account. So I just wanted to clarify that for on-ground.
With a question from Nancy, will students be timed out when responding to discussion board questions? That's not an issue that the evaluation committee looked into. I assume that they will time out just because that seems to be the MO of learning management systems and online software.
Great. We're going to go back to the group Dave Ron put together. We'll go live over to the room there.
Jennifer Thompson, you got a question?
Hi, and I think you might have just answered it, Gia, but I just want to make sure. So those of us that have on-ground courses that repopulate every semester, so Colette Landry automatically puts that in for us, yes. Those are going to be migrated?
No. Those are the ones that you need to let us know about. If the kind of criteria is if you've had instructional design, Colette is not a part of instructional design. So if you've had assistance developing your with instructional design, you don't need to let us know. We'll make sure that that content is moved over. If your faculty members have developed their courses themselves and have asked Colette term to term to kind of push the content forward or something along those lines, we need you to put a list together of those courses and send them to Colette so we can make sure that that content is moved over.
Okay. Well, there was an initiative a few years ago where we were mandated to use all of our courses on eCollege, so it would really be all of them. I mean, and we can send a list, but I know we're required to have the eCollege interface for every course, and so we put, even if it's on a full course, we put different things up there. So we'll send a list, but I think just as a heads up, it is a large percentage.
Okay, and just to clarify as well, courses that aren't fully usable courses, and I know that's kind of a vague way to put it, but for example, it's a course shell and it just has 20 documents in doc sharing. That course we wouldn't migrate over because there's a fee associated with pulling a course over from eCollege to Canvas. And so if it's just a course with documents loaded, we wouldn't want to pay that fee for that because those same documents can just be dropped into the Canvas shell. So we're really only looking at migrating over courses that are fully usable, so to speak. They have content in units or in weeks, in modules, there's a syllabus, there's, real content in that course. Those are the ones that we're focusing on for this automatic migration part.
I get all kinds of looks here in this room. Is there going to be somebody internally that helps the faculty do this on behalf of the faculty?
Wow.
I think we really need to consider that. Yeah. So if it's costing too much money to have the automatic migration, I think we need to have somebody here to do that.
Manage that. Yeah, I just listened to that question, and without a doubt, it's more complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to manage that.
Yeah, I think there might be a little misunderstanding. What Gia is saying is not that you have to rebuild everything you've ever built before, but that if it is a built-out class that you use that has a syllabus and some content for your students, like a discussion forum, for example, as we use in executive-style classes, those will be migrated. It's the ones that are simply placeholders that we use. Maybe we use the grade book, and that's about it. Those are not going to be migrated. So,
but Michael, that that is having to recreate all of our classes, or a good majority of them.
Well, you know what? We would probably want to take this discussion offline because a lot of what you do is you don't only teach those classes in Chicago.
You're breaking up.
I'll work with Keith, especially for BP, but know that because you're part of a national program that exists on more than one campus, that is a different process. That's what Hal was trying to explain.
Yeah, I think for an offline discussion, I think, but there is some concern about that. So.
Noted. Thank you. Well,
thank you.
Raise your hand. You want to go back to you? We're going to go. Got a couple more hands raised. Let's see. Jim Iacino, your hand is raised. We're unmuting you now.
Hi. In eCollege, we're able to copy course content from a course that we taught previously to a course in a future term or a successive term in eCollege. And I wanted to know, once the conversion to Canvas occurs, will we be able to have that flexibility of copying the course content from a Canvas course to a successive term where it's offered again?
Yeah, the answer is that it'll be even easier than it is right now. So let me just hop in. We have a few. Let's pull up this. This course has no content. This is our sandbox.
Okay.
That we are using. For one, starting new courses is as easy as click a button, and then they have a wizard that helps you create the course there. I'm going to have to remember, this is off the top of my head, but I believe in settings. Okay, I don't remember exactly where it is, but there's a button that you can just copy a course with the click of a button that says you want to copy this course.
Okay.
And,
all right.
well, as long as I'm here, I can show you the course setup checklist. So it kind of guides you through the process of creating a course, in addition to the trainings that we will offer. You can import content. It tells you how, it's kind of a checklist. These are the things that typically make up a course. You want to add them into the calendars. Do you have any
So you can add students to a course? You don't have to go like through Colette or something? Or...
No. The possibility exists, but that's also a customizable option that we're going to limit the admin.
Okay.
So it's many of the administration portions to Colette and Rick Merrick's team.
Okay. Just was wondering, because I saw it there.
Maybe it's under.
Okay, we're going to run up to, let's go back to our online questions. Oh. Thanks, Jim. Okay. And it's coming through them. Oh, we got to get the chat.
Maybe there are no.
Well, there's got to be more questions. While we figure that out, let's go back to the hands. We had another hand up. Jim, Ernest, your hand is up. We're going to go back to you here. And yours should be open here.
Yes, thank you. Is Turnitin or something equivalent integrated into Canvas?
It is. Many of the third-party programs that exist right now integrate very easily into Canvas.
All right. Just working out the chat feature here. We have about 10 more minutes for questions, so we'll just.
I can also.
Here we go. We have the screen back up, and we'll. Here we go. We have Emily's question on the board now.
We have an online new student orientation currently being built in eCollege for rollout to all students this fall. How will the migration to Canvas affect this project? We can migrate that into Canvas and offer that in Canvas. As well as the instructional design team will be replicating the Faculty Resource Center and the Student Resource Center. And so we have in-house trainings in Canvas.
Good. Taking notes here. Great question from Engin. Go ahead. On the board.
All right. Will the students be able to keep their eCollege user ID and passwords, or use library user and pass? We're working at the single sign-in, single sign-on functionality, so that everything will be just one password to rule them all, essentially, across platforms. Yeah, as long as you have the ring.
Okay, we have a question from Linda on the board.
Linda, what about those eCollege courses that were modified because of local needs of a particular class or cohort in DC? Can we specify what she means?
That's probably a granular enough question that we might want to deal with that individually. It sounds like there's probably a pretty significant backstory to that.
Okay.
We'll get more clarification, as Michael said, to the group on exactly what will be in the full migration and what won't, and then what will be looked at, for lack of a better way, to describe on an ad hoc basis.
Great. So we'll collect that. Thank you for the question. Allows us to see what other questions are out there. We got a question about will Tournament be integrated to Canvas? Looks like we covered that.
In case I didn't cover it, yeah, it'll integrate. Everything integrates into Canvas. It's a great platform.
And I think we're just clearing out the final questions. Again, if you have a question, go ahead and drop it into the text or raise your hand. We covered the what questions will migrate first. Here's a new one. Okay, here's a new question.
For those of us currently in TOPS classes, will we be taught to use how the new system it seems necessary, as if we were using all of our time to learn TOPS in eCollege, and it's a waste of time, and we're having to switch and relearn everything in a new system. The training will be extensive this fall. You'll be well trained. I think the learning curve in Canvas, within 10 minutes, you're pretty comfortable. Within an hour, you're very comfortable, and we're going to provide extensive training with eCollege, or Canvas, I'm sorry. And we will have the TOPS courses rolled out. Those will be among the first to be rolled out into Canvas. And so, the learning curve is quick.
It's very fast. And I think, too, that the content in TOPS won't be impacted at all by the change to Canvas. That content will remain the same. And even in those cases where you're talking about discussion forums or other types of assignments, there is equivalent functionality in Canvas, so it won't be that huge of a difference in how you hold a discussion in eCollege versus how you do a discussion in Canvas. It's a little bit more functionality, but it won't be difficult to make that transition for TOPS.
And so Dennis Crick is asking, will the courses look different in Canvas? Yes, they will. And I think a lot of the change will be pretty clean. This is a course. This is learn.canvas.net/courses/1. This is a MOOC that I took from my friend Maria Anderson, and it was a MOOC on social media and using that in education. So you can log into this course and just see the content if you'd like to browse around. And there are many ways to customize Canvas. And so these are a few of the pages that are available on the left-hand nav. They have many different options. If I go over to the sandbox again, we'll be able to see there are many different options for that, from conference window, which is similar to GoToMeeting, where you can have a whiteboard and webcams, to files, which would be the file repository for kind of similar to our doc sharing, discussion threads. She decided to clean it up a little bit, but you can feel free to browse around. Referring back to the Quality Matters, here's a big Start Engine button. If you're a new student, it very clearly points, okay, this is where you will begin your journey. So you can go ahead and click on that. I apologize, the connection's a little bit slow, but that will take you to, okay, if you're just getting started, why don't you watch this video from the instructor. A little play on tongues there. Instructor is the provider of Canvas. Instructors are the ones that teach the course. I won't wait for that to load up. Or you can just, if you don't want to run through that linearly, which this is set up linear, so you go on this page, you can click Next, take you to the next page where you have a previous and next button, or you can see the full sequence. And clicking that full sequence button will take you to this modules button where you have, and this is more similar to what we see in eCollege, where you'll have modules or units, and then pages, assignments, quizzes, discussions within the different units. And so this course is a good example. I think if you want to visit that course of the variety of what's available in Canvas, and you can see the concept. This seems like a fairly intense course. A lot of assignments, a lot of pages. We're just in Unit 3. Within the first 3 weeks, we have all this content here, so maybe not best practices for our graduate students. But I'll go ahead and, but MOOCs are different than graduate level psychology and law courses. I'll go ahead and copy this here in the chat window and send that out to you if you'd like to visit that. But this is generally what the layout will look like. We will have the ability to brand this, so we're going to have institutional logos here where there's Pacific Oaks, and then the colors, if it's the Chicago school, we'll have the blue or we'll have the yellows. And so that'll be branded. Everything below there will be pretty much standard with these colors, and that's for ADA compliance reasons, accessibility, which also Canvas leads the pack in terms of accessibility. They have certificates, gold level certification for various compliance certificates that are available. They kind of lead the pack there.
I think we have time for one more question, but before we throw back to the questions, how about we build on this question, Sean, and the team, and talk about the tablets and the more new technology pieces, that how Canvas will enter with iPhones and tablets and the like, and you just speak a little bit further if there's anything on the screen that you can show that we haven't seen.
The good news, I won't be able to show this on the screen, but Hal and I were able to attend InstructureCon, which is their annual conference last month, and they are rolling out, they have a pretty well-built iOS app for iPhone and tablet, and they're coming out with version 2.0 in the next couple of months. And so by the time we are integrated into Canvas as an institution, that should be available for us. It's free, and you just download it and put your credentials in. And we were able to be on the board. They're doing focus group type thing. So we were able to kind of see the behind the scenes, and we also volunteered to beta test those iOS apps as well, and the Android apps are also pretty good. And so it looks a little bit different here, but fully functional, which is pretty amazing. They can do discussions. They can even, on the tablet, they can even create written assignments. They can use Etherpad or Google Docs to create written assignments, assuming that you have a keyboard, like a Bluetooth keyboard. I don't know that you'd want to be punching your screen to type out a research paper or anything. But if you want to, I mean, when you think about it, these new tablets are about the same size as netbooks, which is also, a few years ago, was a viable option for students, smaller than laptops. And so there are many options in terms of that, in terms of the scalability of Canvas.
We want to finish on time, so we're going to make this the last question, then we'll wrap up and certainly do some more of this onward. But let's just take this one more question from the board. I'm not sure who this is from. It just came up, and I don't believe we've covered this.
Bonnie Miller. Will we be able to access previous courses taught, and how will those appear? Starting January 1st, we are with Canvas, and so we're not going to have any archival courses. And so use the next 6 months to look over your previous courses. If there's a course that you want migrated that you think might fall off the radar, then contact us, and we'll see if we can include that in the batch. But otherwise, right now, it's kind of the housekeeping period, I would say, the next few months, the fall term. We want to look over our courses.
I have a follow-up question to that, though, because quite often you'll get a grade appeal at the end of the term, and so we may need to have access to the documents from the previous term for a little while longer to settle our grade appeals. Are we going to have some setup that would allow for that, at least temporarily?
I think it'll work very similarly, from my understanding, to how when we went from eCollege, Angel to eCollege, where all of our archived courses were kind of zipped in a bundle. So the instructor, him or herself, didn't have direct access to the course content, but an administrator in Canvas would be able to go into that zipped bundle of courses and pull up any old content that might be disputed or something like that.
Great. Well, we're at the top of the hour, and I thank everybody for your questions. I think we left a few questions on the table, and we apologize for that. A couple of hands are still raised, but we wanted to acknowledge the hour not go over. We had more than 100 people participate in this program, which I think is a new record for us. We've been doing these webinars for a few months now. So thank you, everybody, for taking the time. Again, we recorded the program. We certainly will do more of these as the progress of the project evolves, and then we have more and new information to share. Likewise with the training programs that are going to be rolling out, and likewise with the student outreach that will be starting in September and onward. And I thank again everybody who participated in the team today. And just watch your email inboxes, keep visiting the website, and reaching out to Sean and others, and they'll be available to answer any and all questions that you have. And we'll put some contact information here on the website. We'll make sure that you'll have an ability to reach out there. So thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next time.